So this is a very easy question which came in this from the subject plant design and economics. So it was related to the basic definition of turnover ratio. So we know that turnover ratio is what? It is actually the gross annual sales upon fixed capital investment. Okay, so this was a very easy question based on the direct definition, but students made mistake in this question also. Actually, when the question is easy, students directly, just like anything, they guess the option and they tend to make mistake. But please be careful when the question is easy. So the correct option for this question is this one. Turnover ratio is gross annual sales upon fixed capital investment. Thank you. So this is the question on plant design and economics, which came off 2 marks, I think, in GATE 2021. So let me read out the question. It says that operating labor requirements, which is termed as L, in some chemical process industry, is described in terms of the plant capacity. And plant capacity is C. Units are given as kg per day over a wide range from 1000 to 10 to the power 6. Described by a relationship, and this relationship is L is equal to alpha C to the power beta, where alpha and beta are two constants. And some information is given to us is that this L is 60 when C is this much, 2 into 10 power 4. Again, when L is 70 when C is this much. Now we are to calculate the value of L when C will be 10 to the power 5. Okay, actually it has nothing to do with plant design economics. It is just, if a person hasn't studied plant design economics, then also he'll be able to solve this question. Come on, let us solve. So let us write the relation L is equal to alpha C to the power beta. Okay, so using this relation, L is 60, okay, equal to alpha, how much is C? 2 into 10 to the power 4 beta. This is our equation 1. Again, let us use this relation. L is how much? 70. Again, alpha, how much is C? 6 into 10 to the power 4 beta. This is our 2. So from these two equations, we have two variables here, alpha and beta, alpha, beta. So two variables, two equations, this can be solved. So we'll solve these two equations to get the value of alpha and beta. So what we can do is dividing 1 by 2. So we are dividing these two equations. So what will get us? 60 by 70. Alpha divided by alpha will be cancelled. So what will remain? 2 into 10 power 4 divided by 6 into 10 power 4 whole to the power beta. Okay, so that will be how much? 2 into 10 power 4 by 6 into 10 power 4 whole to the power beta. This is how much? 6 by 7. This is how much? Then this cancel. 2 by 6, 1/3 beta. Now what we can do is we can take log both sides. Ln 6 by 7 beta ln 1 by 3. Okay, so after putting the values in the calculator, what you will get is beta will come around 0.1402 approximately. Okay, so we have calculated beta. Now we have to put this value of beta in any of the equations, be it 1 or 2. Let me put beta in 1. Okay, so you will get 60 is equal to alpha 2 into 10 power 4. What is beta? We have calculated just now, 0.1402. From this equation you will get alpha as 14.967 approximately. Okay, so what we have done is that two information were given to us and some relationship was also given, and in that relationship two variables were there, alpha and beta. Using those two data, we have calculated our alpha and beta. So now what we are to calculate, we have to find the value of L when C is 10 to the power 5. So what is alpha? 14.967. What is C? 10 to the power 5. What is beta? 0.1402. So when you solve this expression in your calculator, it will come around to be 75.186 approximately. So we are to report the answer in the nearest integer. Okay, so nearest integer to this is how much? 75. So this is our final answer. Okay, so what this question is saying is that a principal amount is charged a nominal annual interest rate of 10%. Okay, if the interest rate is compounded continuously, so this word is very important for us. Actually, till GATE 2020, no question from this concept has been asked, but in GATE 2021 it came from this concept of continuous compounding. Okay, so we are to calculate the final amount at the end of 1 year, which means our number of years, in this case for like our consideration it is 1. Okay, would be how much? Would be, we need to select the correct option. So firstly we need to know the formula for continuous compounding. So formula for continuous compounding, I mean to say the sum accumulated. Okay, it is S is equal to principal amount P into e to the power Rn. So P is the principal amount, E is our exponential, R is the nominal annual interest rate, which is given here to be 10%, N is the number of years. Okay, so by substituting the values we will get a answer. But P, it's not given anything, so we'll just keep it as P only. E to the power R is how much? 0.1, number of years is 1. So P e to the power 0.1, let me use my calculator, it is P into 1.1052. okay, so by looking at option B, it says that it is equal to 1.365 times the principal amount, but we are getting 1.1052 times the principal amount, so this cannot be the option. Option B is eliminated. Okay, so now let's check out what's in option A. It says that it is equal to the amount obtained when using an effective interest rate of 27.18%. okay, so it's given that effective annual rate is 27.18%. so when effective annual rate is given, the formula for sum accumulated is how much? P into 1 plus I effective raised to the power number of years. Okay, P we will keep it as P 1 plus I effective, changing 27.18% to decimal, to the power number of years is 1, so we get 1.2718 into P. Okay, so what it says that it is equal to the amount obtained when using an effective interest rate of this much, but by the actual formula what we are getting 1.1052 times, but by this effective annual interest we are getting 1.2718. again this and this are not matching, so option A is also eliminated. Okay, so here first let me introduce to the concept of continuous compounding. Okay, actually I should have done it first, but okay, doesn't matter. So guys, when the compounding is done annually, whatever is the sum accumulated at the end of 1 year, provided the compounding is done only once at the end of the year, let that sum be S1. okay, now let's say I'm doing the compounding 2 times in a year or semi-annually. Let us say the amount is final amount at the end of the year when the compounding is done 2 times in a year is S2. Let's say now I am doing compounding every month, then the sum accumulated is S3. Then suppose every day, every minute, every second finally I will reach to a point where continuous compounding is done. Okay, so friends, what we can see from these values of sum? So when the compounding is done only once at the end of 1 year, the sum is S1. Now when I'm saying that the compounding is done 2 times in a year, what I'm saying is that I have increased the interest periods in a year. Earlier when it was annual compounding interest period was only 1 year. But now when it is semi-annually, interest period is how much? 2, because semi-annually means how much? 6 months plus 6 months, so interest period is 2. When the compounding is monthly, interest period is 12. Okay, number of periods is how much? 12. In the semi-annual case, the number of periods is 2. Okay, so what I am trying to say is that when we are increasing the interest periods, the sum also increases. Whatever sum we will be getting at the end of the year, this also increases. So interest period increases, this implies sum also increases. Okay, say like in semi-annual case, whatever amount you will be getting after the end of 6 months, so for the next 6 months you will be getting some interest on that extra amount also. Yeah, so definitely it will be greater than the case 1. And when you are getting interest every month, when compounding is done monthly, so for every month whatever the extra interest you have got, then some interest you will get on that interested amount for the next month also. Likewise, that money will be accumulated, and finally you will get a good amount of money, which means that when the interest periods increases, the final sum also increases, as I have told you. Okay, so using this concept, friends, we can, out of these two options, we can say that when the case of continuous compounding, the final amount at the end of 1 year will be obviously higher than the amount obtained when the interest rate is compounded monthly. Okay, so this is our obviously it cannot be lower. Actually, when it is compounded annually, you will get the least amount of final sum. When you will compound it semi-annually, then you will get an amount which is greater than the annual compounding, and when you compound it monthly, you will get it further more. Finally, you will get the highest amount when it is compounded continuously. So your final answer will be option D. Okay, so what this question is saying is that a company invests in a recovery unit to separate valuable metals from effluent streams. The total initial capital investment of this unit is rupees 10 lakhs. Okay, so let me write this data here. Total capital investment of this unit is how much? Rupees 10 lakhs. Okay, next what is given is that the recovered metals, so whatever this company has recovered, like in the form of metals, so those are worth how much? Rupees 4 lakhs per year. Okay, so rupees 4 lakhs recovered metals. Okay, next what is given? If the annual return on this investment is 15%, this line is very important. It says that the annual return on this investment, which investment? This investment, yeah, the investment in setting up that plant, okay, is 15%. So this percentage will be percentage of this much. So this thing is actually important to understand. So annual return, which means return per year, is 15% of this investment, means 15% of 10 lakhs. So this will be how much? From your calculator you can say that it is 1.5 lakhs. 15% of 10 lakhs is how much? 1.5 lakhs. Okay, so our annual return is 1.5 lakhs. but it said that the recovered metals are worth rupees 4 lakhs a year. Okay, it said in our question that the recovered metals were worth 4 lakhs, but again it is saying that the annual return is 1.5 lakhs. So out of these 4 lakhs, some 1.5 lakhs was our actual return. So the difference of these two, which is 2.5 lakhs, so these 2.5 lakhs cost went in some annual maintenance or annual operating costs of that plant, isn't it? So let me repeat it again. So the recovered metals were worth 4 lakhs a year, and but the annual return is only 1.5 lakhs. So the difference of these two, that also must be incurred as some cost, which would be nothing but the operating cost or the maintenance cost. So the difference of these two is how much? 2.5 lakhs. So this is our operating costs. Okay, so 2.5 is our answer. So this question is saying that a viscous liquid is pumped through a pipe network in a chemical plant. Okay, the annual pumping cost per unit length of the pipe is given to us by this expression: 48.13 q square mu upon d to the power 4. Also, the annual cost of the installed piping system, again per unit length of pipe, is given to us, which is 45.92 d. So capital D is the inner diameter of the pipe in meter, Q is the volumetric flow rate of the fluid in meter cube per second, mu is the viscosity of the liquid in Pascal second, all are in standard units. Okay, viscosity, which means mu, is given to us. Okay, 20 into 10 power minus 3 Pascal second. Volumetric flow rate of the liquid, which means Q, is also given to us, 10 power minus 4 meter cube per second. The economic inner diameter of the pipe we are to find in meter. Okay, so basically this is an optimization problem. Like, we have to optimize the total cost what we are incurring, we have to optimize it, and finally we have to find the value of the inner diameter. Okay, so this is also a very basic question. So our total cost incurred will be how much? Pumping cost plus this cost, so 48.13 q square mu upon d to the power 4 plus 45.92 d. Okay, so right away don't put the values of q, mu and everything, we'll put that finally. Okay, so this is our expression for total cost. Now what we have to do is that we have to minimize this function. So what is our variable here? D. So we have to differentiate this expression with respect to D. Okay, so differentiating this, I'm writing here, what we'll get? 48.13 q square mu. Here it is d to the power minus 4, because d to the power 4 is in denominator. So differentiation will be minus 4 d to the power minus 4 minus 1, which will be minus 5, plus 45.92, differentiation of d will be 1. So this is our differentiation of the total cost. So for minimization of this function, the first differentiation should be 0. Correct? Okay, now this problem is very easy. Everything we have, let us put the values. 48.13. What is q? Q is, I think, yeah, 10 to the power minus 4. So whole square will become minus 8. Mu is how much? 20 into 10 to the power minus 3 multiplied by minus 4 divided by d to the power 5 plus 45.92 is equal to 0. So this implies, here it's a minus sign, so everything will be shifted backwards, and finally you will get, on solving with the help of your virtual calculator, you'll get finally the value of d will be 0.0153, and this unit will also be in meter, as everything is in meter standard unit. So final diameter will also be in meter only. Okay, so here just the differentiation, be a little bit careful, and yeah, rest is easy. So our round, we have to report it in round off to 3 decimal place. 0.015 is our answer.